The crystalline spires of Vareth Prime gleamed against the violet sky as Lisa Chen pressed her palm against the observation deck's viewport. 200 meters below, in the planet's capital plaza, thousands of Varathi citizens had gathered, their bioluminescent skin patterns flickering in what the translation algorithms identified as collective anxiety. "They're terrified," Alex Rodriguez said from his station, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. Atmospheric sensors are picking up elevated pheromone concentrations consistent with fear responses across a 10-kilometer radius. Lisa turned from the window, her expression thoughtful. "Can you blame them? According to the cultural database we downloaded from their orbital network, humans have been their boogeyman for 3 generations." The UNSS Magellan had entered the Varath system 6 hours ago, humanity's first successful faster-than-light journey using the Alcubierre Matsumoto drive. The mission parameters were simple: establish first contact with the Varathi civilization, a species that had achieved spaceflight 2 centuries before Earth, but had never developed FTL technology. What the crew hadn't expected was to discover they were already famous, or rather, infamous. Alex pulled up a holographic projection, displaying what appeared to be a Varathi children's book. The translation software rendered the title as "The Humans in the Dark." The illustrations showed grotesque, exaggerated creatures with pale skin, forward-facing eyes like predators, and mouths full of flat, grinding teeth that the artist had somehow made menacing. "Listen to this excerpt," Alex said, reading from the translation. "And the humans came from the darkness between stars, with their binocular vision that tracks prey and their endurance that never tires. They eat the flesh of other creatures and grow strong from violence. Even their children learn to hunt before they can properly speak." Lisa winced. Anatomically accurate but contextually horrifying. How did we become their monster mythology? "Dr. Okonkwo thinks she's figured it out," Alex replied, switching to the science team's channel. "Doctor, can you repeat your findings for Commander Chen?" The voice of Dr. Amara Okonkwo, the Magellan's xenoanthropologist, crackled through the comm system. "Commander, approximately 73 years ago, the Varathi received what we believe was Earth's Voyager Golden Record transmission, or something similar. The mathematics and basic information would have been interpretable, but without context, the biological data about humans would have seemed alarming." "Alarming how?" Lisa asked. "The Varathi are obligate herbivores with lateral eye placement, similar to Earth's prey animals. Their evolutionary history involved no apex predators on their homeworld. Their species dominated through collective intelligence and tool use rather than physical prowess. When they analyzed human biology from our transmissions, they saw obligate omnivores with forward-facing eyes, unusual endurance capabilities, and a skeletal structure suggesting pursuit predation. To them, we're the equivalent of a superintelligent tyrannosaur." Lisa absorbed this, watching the crowds below, and the cultural contamination. One xenobiologist wrote a speculative xenofiction piece about the humans described in the transmission, Dr. Okonkwo continued. "It became a cultural phenomenon. Within a generation, humans were integrated into their folklore as cautionary tale creatures. Behave, or the humans will come for you. That sort of thing." Alex looked up from his console. "Commander, we're receiving another transmission from the Varathi High Council. They're requesting we remain in orbit and avoid any atmospheric entry. They've agreed to send a delegation to meet us here, but—" He paused, reading the subtext in the message's linguistic patterns. "They're asking us to understand that their population needs time to adjust to the reality of human existence." "In other words," Lisa said dryly, "please don't land and cause mass panic." "Essentially." Lisa moved to the captain's chair, her mind working through the implications. First contact protocols had been designed for countless scenarios, but accidentally being the alien civilization's monster mythology hadn't made the list. She opened a channel to the council. High Council of Verath Prime, this is Commander Lisa Chen of the United Nations Starship Magellan. We acknowledge your request and will remain in orbit. However, we propose an alternative to delay our meeting. With your permission, we'd like to begin broadcasting educational content about human civilization, culture, and biology, with proper context this time. Our xenopsychology team believes that familiarity and understanding may help ease the transition. The response took several minutes. When it came, the voice was high-pitched and musical, the product of Verathi vocal anatomy. Commander Chen, your proposal is unexpected. Our cultural experts are conferring. Please stand by. Alex pulled up a private channel. You think they'll go for it? They're scientists and diplomats, Lisa said. Fear comes from the unknown. We give them knowledge, we give them time to process, and we turn ourselves from monsters into neighbors. And if it doesn't work, then we've just made humanity's first impression on an alien species, one of patience and respect for their boundaries. That's worth something. 43 minutes later, the High Council responded with conditional approval. Over the next 2 weeks, the Magellan's crew became unlikely educators, broadcasting everything from footage of human children playing peacefully in parks to documentaries about agricultural development and philosophy. Dr. Okonkwo gave lectures on human evolutionary biology, carefully contextualizing humanity's predatory ancestry within its development of empathy, cooperation, and ethical frameworks. The turning point came when Alex suggested they broadcast footage from Earth's hospitals. Show them our doctors, he argued during a staff meeting. Show them humans dedicating their lives to healing, regardless of the patient's ability to pay. Show them the nurses working double shifts, the researchers seeking cures, the volunteers in disaster zones. They think we're monsters. Show them human compassion in action. The footage of a human surgeon carefully reattaching a child's severed finger, tears in her eyes as the parent sobbed with gratitude, became the most downloaded broadcast on Verath Prime. Within days, the narrative began to shift. Lisa was reviewing linguistic pattern analyses when Alex burst into her quarters, his face flushed with excitement. Commander, you need to see this. He pulled up a Verathi news broadcast. The translation showed a cultural commentator speaking. Perhaps we have misunderstood. Yes, humans are predators by evolution, but they have transcended their nature through civilization. They hunt diseases instead of prey. They channel their endurance into exploration rather than pursuit. They are not the monsters of our stories. They are what monsters became when they chose to be something more. Lisa felt something tight in her chest release. Is this representative of public opinion? The High Council wants to move forward with in-person contact, Alex said. They're inviting you and a small delegation to the surface. Tomorrow. The shuttle descent through Verath Prime's atmosphere was smooth, the planet's low gravity making for an easy landing. As Lisa stepped out onto the plaza, the same one she'd observed from orbit 2 weeks ago, she saw thousands of Verathi citizens watching. Their bioluminescent patterns still flickered with nervousness, but curiosity now dominated the chromatic signatures. A delegation of Verathi officials approached, led by a tall individual whose skin shimmered with patterns the translator identified as formal greeting and tentative hope. Through the translation device, the official spoke. Commander Chen, I am First Scholar Vetheran. On behalf of Verath Prime, we welcome you. We must apologize for our initial fear and for the disservice our mythology has done to your species. Lisa smiled, careful to keep her teeth covered. Dr. Okonkwo had briefed her on Verathi nervousness around visible human dentition. First Scholar, there's no need for apology. Fear of the unknown is universal. What matters is that we're here now, ready to learn from each other. Vetheran's patterns shifted to something the translator marked as relief and gratitude. Your patience with us has taught us something valuable, Commander. You could have been offended by our stories, angry at your portrayal. Instead, you chose understanding. Perhaps that is the true measure of an advanced civilization, not the technology they develop, but how they treat those who fear them. As Alex stood beside her, recording everything for the archives, Lisa looked around at the gathered crowd. Alien faces, yes, but in their expressions, translated through bioluminescence and posture, she saw the same curiosity, the same hope for connection that had driven humanity to the stars. "First scholar," she said, "may I suggest we write a new story together? Not about monsters or myths, but about two species who found each other across the darkness and chose friendship over fear." Vetharin's luminescence brightened in what could only be described as a smile. "Commander Chen, I believe that story has already begun." Above them, the Magellan orbited silently, a testament to human ingenuity. But down here, in this plaza on an alien world, something more important was happening. Humanity's first chapter in galactic civilization wasn't being written with technology or force, but with patience, empathy, and the willingness to let monsters become myths, and myths become friends. Alex leaned toward Lisa and whispered, "For what it's worth, Commander, I think we nailed this first contact thing." Lisa allowed herself a genuine smile, teeth and all. Several nearby Varathi flinched slightly, then relaxed, their patterns adjusting to acceptance. "Let's hope the second contact goes this smoothly," she replied. "We've got a whole galaxy to meet."